Elon Musk shocks millionaire by adopting black homeless man. What he hid will break your heart. The city never sleeps. Neon lights slice through the dark night like sharp knives. Crowds push past each other, faces grim, hopes hidden under ragged coats. And right in the middle stands James Carter. Tailored suit, sharp tie, the perfect smile that could launch 1,000 headlines. But tonight, the headlines are different. They scream, Elon Musk shocks millionaire by adopting black homeless man. Everyone's talking. Cameras flash. Whispers hang in the air like pollution. James Carter, the man known for changing the world with his charity innovations, just took in Malik, a young homeless guy whose eyes burn with dreams so big the city feels small beneath them. At first, it looks like a perfect PR move. The millionaire, a hero of the people, the savior of the lost, taking in one of the forgotten. But there's a twist no one saw coming. Malik doesn't just carry a story of street. He carries scars deeper than the city's cracks. His mother? A vanished humanitarian giant who disappeared without a trace years ago. Swallowed by silence and conspiracy. Watching Malik shuffle nervously in Carter's office, James feels a lump that won't go down. Malik's hands tremble, fingers twitching like they're trying to hold on to shattered memories. The air between them thickens, something heavy, suffocating. The city buzzes outside. Distant sirens wail, mingling with the low murmur of the restless crowd. Shadows creep in corners, hiding rumors about hidden deals, about corruption thick enough to choke even the brightest names. And now, Carter's carefully built image feels fragile, teetering on the edge of ruin. Who is she really? Carter wonders, staring at Malik, searching for answers in the haunted gaze. As the two men talk, late into the night, secrets spill like broken glass. Malik's story twists through pain and hope, through betrayal and lost dreams. The silence. Suddenly, their connection isn't a smart move for the cameras. It's raw, real, dangerous. Are we playing with fire, or are we the ones getting burned? James thinks, heartbeat thumping loud in the quiet room. Outside, the city's pulse quickens. A storm is coming, stirring the city's rotten roots. Every alley whispers warnings. Every shadow looks like it hides a lie. Just when they begin bridging their broken pasts, an anonymous message hits Carter's phone. The screen glows cold in the dark. You don't know what you've started. Watch closer, or lose everything. His hands shake. The polished image cracks. Fear creeps in like poison. Are James and Malik just pawns in a ruthless game too big to fight? Or can they rewrite their own stories before the darkness drags them under? One thing sure, the truth is closing in fast. And now, James has no choice but to dive deeper, even if it means facing his worst nightmare. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact! The message blinked ominously on the screen. James felt the floor drop beneath him. He glanced at Malik, who was staring wide-eyed, as if the screen had just revealed a ghost. What does it mean? Malik's voice trembled, pulling James back into the now. I don't know, James murmured, his thoughts racing like a runaway train. Panic gripped him. What had he gotten into? Who was watching them? The weight of responsibility pressed on his shoulders. Maybe it's just a prank, Malik suggested, but the uncertainty in his voice betrayed that he didn't believe it either. The city around them faded, replaced by a silence that hung heavily in the room. James's phone buzzed again. This time, his intuition screamed he had to know what was unfolding. As he opened the message, the words felt like sharp daggers. You're in deep. The truth is buried, and you're digging your own grave. His heart raced, every beat a warning. It's not just me, he choked out. It's you too, Malik. The reality of their situation clenched at his gut. He could feel the panic clawing its way up his throat, tightening around his chest. Suddenly, the door slammed open. A figure rushed in, tall, dark coat whipping around them. James! It was Anna, his assistant, face pale with fear. We need to go, now, Ois. What's happening? He asked, looking between Anna and Malik, confusion swirling in the air. It's not safe here. We've been compromised. The urgency in Anna's voice cut through James like a knife. You need to trust me, both of you. There are people looking for Malik. Malik shivered, stepping back, bumping into the desk. Why? What do you mean? Anna's eyes sharpened. Because Malik isn't just a homeless guy. He's connected to something much bigger. Something dangerous. A chilling silence unfurled, wrapping around them tighter. Connected? James echoed. His brain struggled to process the words. Yes, his mother, the humanitarian who vanished. She didn't just disappear. She took something from powerful people, documents that could expose them. Anna's voice trembled, fierce yet fragile. Malik is the T. They want him back. Malik's expression shifted from confusion to horror. What? No, Before he could finish, the lights flickered violently. Panic roared back to life as they heard a loud crash from the hallway. They're here! Anna shouted. James grabbed Malik's arm, uncertainty clawing at him. We need to move now! As they dashed out of the office, Malik stumbled but pressed on, confusion morphing into raw fear. The world outside had transformed, shadows dancing in corners, whispers filling the air. The chase echoed behind them, their footsteps pounded against cold concrete. Bro, this was supposed to be a second chance for me, Malik shouted, voice thick with urgency. You don't even know who I am. The truth hung heavy in the air. James glanced back. I'm trying to figure it out, he yelled, adrenaline surging. But before he could react, Malik stopped. Ahead, a group of shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, blocking their path, eyes glinting with menace. A twist of fate binds them tighter, and James realized every decision, every moment had led to this horrifying confrontation. Who were these people? What had he really signed up for? And whatever scintilla of hope they had, it started to slip away in the chaos. The truth, once buried deep, was clawing its way to the surface. What awaited them now? The uncertainty hung like a storm cloud, pregnant with threats from an unseen world that could change everything. The chill in the air seeps deeper as James stares at his phone, the ominous message burning a hole in his mind. He glances up at Malik, who's still caught in the web of his own pain. The shadows dancing across his face, hinting at things unsaid. "Who's watching us?" James mutters, more to himself than to Malik. A bead of sweat trickles down his brow, his heart thumping like a tracked bird, the weight of the Suddenly, the distant wail of a siren pierces the tension, and Malik flinches. Just as James opens his mouth to speak, the door bursts open. A man, rugged and wild-eyed, storms into the office, breathing heavy like a freight train. "James, we need to go! Now!" His voice is urgent, raw with panic. It's Liam, James's childhood friend, a guy who never fit into the polished world James navigated. "What are you talking about?" James's fear spikes, his gut twisting. "They know. They're onto us." Liam spits out, wild gestures punctuating his words. "We're not safe here." James looks at Malik, whose eyes widen. A reality shatters in that instant. A warning bell ringing in his ears. Who knows what? They're coming for Malik. Liam's words are like fire, igniting an awareness that pushes James to the edge. Malik? James's mind races. This wasn't just about them anymore. Malik steps back, his face suddenly pale. "I've done nothing wrong." His voice trembles, but James can see the fear flickering behind his eyes. Without waiting for an answer, Liam grabs James's arm, pulling him closer. "It's serious. They think he knows something big." A ripple of confusion washes over James. What could he possibly know? Malik drops his gaze, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders. "My mother. She didn't just disappear. She was taken." The words hang heavy in the air, echoing like a tolling bell that signals doom. James's heart sinks. The pieces of Malik's life that once seemed chaotic start clicking together. "What do you mean, taken?" "There's a reason. She was famous for fighting inequality." Malik's voice fades, but his eyes burn with intensity. "She was about to expose something so dangerous." The atmosphere shifts. The air suddenly feels electric, thick with revelations that are about to collide. What was she going to expose? James presses, his voice low and steady. Malik takes a deep breath, the weight of everywhere pressing heavily on him. "There are people, powerful people, who wanted her silent. And now they're after me," he whispers, the urgency causing his brows to furrow. "I'm last on their list." James swallows hard, dread pooling in the pit of his stomach as a realization hits him. This was no simple PR stunt. They were tangled in a web woven from secrets, shadows, and threats looming just outside the door. The sound of footsteps echoes from down the hall. Panic floods the room. James locks eyes with Malik, fear piercing through their connection. "We need to leave, now!" Just as they move, James's phone vibrates again. He glances at the screen, blood draining from his face. It's another message. "You should have left him behind. You have no idea what you're getting into." In an instant, doubt crashes in like a tidal wave. Are they truly allies? Or has James stepped into a game where trust is a fragile illusion? The door swings shut behind them as they race into the dark. heartbeats echoing in their ears, leaving behind a world that will never be the same again. James felt his heart race as he bolted out of the office. The message on his phone burned in his mind, heavy and ominous. They rushed into the dimly lit hallway, shadowy figures dancing in the corners, lurking like hungry wolves. Malik was close behind, his breath quick and labored, a mixture of fear and adrenaline flooding his veins. "Which way?" James shouted, scanning the chaos around them. The sirens wailed again, closer now, threatening to close in on them. "Downstairs!" Liam shouted, urgency painting his voice. "The back exit is our best shot!" They sprinted forward, feet pounding against the cold tiles, their footsteps echoing like alarm bells in the still air. As they turned the corner, the weight of the moment pressed on James. What world had he stumbled into? Everything felt wrong, a jigsaw puzzle missing crucial pieces. They reached the stairwell, only to find it filled with shadows, dark figures moving in silence. Malik stumbled as they reached the door, anxiety boiling in his chest. "What do we do?" he gasped, wide-eyed, glancing back at the darkness behind them. "Keep moving," James urged, pulling Malik forward. But before they can slip through the door, a hand shot out, grabbing Malik's arm with an iron grip. James whipped around, ready to fight, but the figure stepped into the light, revealing a familiar face. Rachel, Malik's long-lost sister. The revelation struck James hard, a punch to the gut. "Rachel?" Malik breathed, disbelief flooding his voice. There she stood, with fierce determination etched into her features, eyes bright with urgency. "What are you doing here?" "We don't have time. They're after you. You need to come with me." She sounded frantic, fear threading her voice, and James's mind buzzed with questions. "What do you mean they're after him?" James asked, trying to catch up with this sudden twist. "They think Malik has something something his mother left behind." The air thickened with tension. "What do you know about her? About what happened?" James demanded, trying to process this new connection, how it changed everything. "She was framed," Rachel shouted, desperation coating her words. "She took evidence, important documents. They can ruin lives. They wanted to silence her, and now they want Malik." "Because I was trying to keep him safe, and I thought I could handle it alone. I had no idea you were involved." Her frustration poured out with every word, and James felt his own world swirling. Suddenly, Malik's expression shifted. Something darker flickered behind his eyes. "You should have left me behind, Rachel. You don't know what you're doing." "What?" Rachel gasped. "You're my brother. I won't abandon you." But Malik recoiled, the physical distance between them loaded with unspoken histories. "You don't know. You don't really know anything." "Ha ha 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 ha! It's right there." His voice cracked, anger and fear boiling over. James felt a chill. "Malik, what aren't you telling us?" he urged, feeling ice claw at his insides. A moment of heavy silence hung in the air, thick with fear, thick with consequence. Then Malik opened his mouth, and the truth was about to spill, ready to shatter whatever fragile bonds had held them together. And then, out of the corner of his eye, James noticed a dark figure creeping down the hall, hollow and menacing. The figure was raising something in his hand, and they were out of time. "Duck!" James shouted, diving for cover, and instinct took over. But Malik stood frozen, caught between the pull of revelation and the fear that had taken hold. The harsh sound of a weapon cocking echoed in the atmosphere, and time seems to freeze. Just as Malik seemed ready to speak, the world exploded into chaos. The room filled with shouting voices, the air punctured by a sharp bang, and everything fell into darkness. Who's left standing? What truth remained hidden in the consuming shadow? In that moment, as they were swept away in a tide of uncertainty, a singular thought consumed James. How far would they go to protect each other? And what secrets might tear them apart forever? The buzzing of the city fades for just a moment. James's heart races, pounding against his ribs. That message lingers in his mind, dark and chilling. You don't know what you've started. He glances at Malik, whose gaze seems to pierce through him. There's a connection, yes, but it feels like they're standing on the edge of a deep chasm. James, I need to tell you something. Malik's voice breaks the suffocating silence. It trembles, but carries a weight that pulls James closer. He nods, urging Malik to continue, his own instincts screaming for caution. Malik takes a breath, like he's holding back a flood of secrets. It's about my mom, he whispers, his eyes darting around the dimly lit office. She didn't just vanish, she was taken. The words hit James like a slap. The air feels thick, almost electric. Taken? He echoes, disbelief lining his voice. Yes, Malik continues, the urgency rising. She was working on something big, something that would have changed everything for people like us. And then, she disappeared. James leans in, tension crawling up his spine. ... What do you mean? What was she working on? Before Malik can respond, a loud crash echoes from the nearby street. Glass shatters, and a silence stretches like a tightrope. They both turn toward the window, their hearts racing. Outside, chaos erupts. People scream, and a delivery truck spills its cargo, countless boxes tumbling into the street. A sudden sense of wrongness buzzes in the air. James! Malik's voice snaps him back from the scene outside. We need to go. Now. James shakes his head, confusion tangled in his thoughts. Why? What's happening? Malik's eyes widen, panic creeping in. It's not just about me. If they find us here... Who's they? The question grips the space between them, heavy and dark. I don't have time to explain. Malik pulls James by the arm, urgency in his grip. They make their way toward the exit, adrenaline surging through them. Suddenly, the office door bursts open. A man stands there, silhouetted against the streetlights. His face shadowed but determined. James Carter? James freezes. Panic sets in. Who are you? The man steps forward, the light catching his features. He isn't a stranger. It's someone from James's past, someone associated with his own tangled web of corruption and lies. The man's eyes are cold, cutting through the haze. You're in over your head, Carter. Both of you. Get out! Malik pushes James behind him, protective instinct kicking in. He's lying! The man smirks, a dark satisfaction gleaming in his gaze. You have no idea what she was really involved in, or what you're protecting. And then the unexpected happens. Malik's eyes widen in shock. No, it can't be. His voice wavers, trembling with a mixture of betrayal and realization. What? James's confusion deepens, the knot tightening in his stomach. Your mother! She was part of it too. Every ounce of air leaves the room, heavy and cold. James feels the floor beneath him shift, as if the ground is opening up. Suddenly, all the pieces he thought he understood twist into a monstrous shape he doesn't recognize. The man steps closer, a smirk framing his lips. This is bigger than you think, boys. And you're both in the middle of it now. Malik's breath hitches. What do you know? Everything, the man replies, voice dripping with menace. Time stands still, thick with tension. James knows they're tangled in something far more dangerous than either of them anticipated. Shadows creep closer, and outside, the chaos continues to grow. As the reality sinks in, the question looms, can they escape this nightmare? Or have they just opened the door to something darker than either could imagine? Everything hangs in the balance. James stared at the phone, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The message hung in the air, heavy and electric. He wasn't just playing with fire. He was standing right in the blaze. Malik looked up, eyes wide with uncertainty. The room was thick with tension, every breath feeling like it could shatter into a million pieces. James? What's wrong? Malik's voice trembled, but the urgency cut through the silence. Carter's fingers twitched, the phone feeling like a brand pressing into his palm. He swallowed hard. Just a message. Stepped closer, the shadows of his past creeping behind him. From who? Does it matter? James snapped, tension leaking into his words. They shared this moment, both wrestling with their hidden scars, but fear clouded the connection. Suddenly, the office door burst open, banging against the wall. A figure stood silhouetted against the chaos of city lights. Andrew, James's longtime assistant, face pale and eyes wild. James, you need to see this. What is it? James barked, annoyance spilling into panic. But his heart raced faster. Andrew rushed in, gripping a newspaper, nearly shaking. You won't believe what they're saying about Malik. What are you talking about? Malik flinched, the expression on Andrew's face sending shivers down his spine. Andrew slammed the paper down on the desk. Bold letters screamed from the page. Millionaire's adoption or cover-up? Haunted past of homeless man revealed. James felt sick. What? No, this can't. His mind raced. They were supposed to be building something, coming together, not being torn apart by rumors. He glanced at Malik, whose eyes were now wide with dread. Tell me they're lying, Malik whispered, voice cracking. They've got old photographs, Malik. Your mother. They're saying she was involved in something much darker. Human trafficking. Corruption. Andrew's voice turned softer, as if he feared breaking something fragile. Malik staggered back, the weight of the accusation hitting him like a punch. No, that's not true. My mom was... She was trying to help people. But the paper wouldn't let go. James felt his heart race again, this time for Malik. The press was ruthless, and the shadows of the city were closing in. We can fight this, James said, trying to hold on to hope. We'll tell your story, Malik. All of it. Malik's face twisted in pain, tears welling up in his eyes. You don't understand. If they know who I really am, what my past is, it ruins everything. The world outside felt like it was closing in. A storm brewing as sirens blared, a sound of chaos and heartbreak. James looked into Malik's eyes and saw fear, desperation. There was something deeper, something unspoken, lurking in Malik's silence. James leaned closer, a whisper between them as the walls of the room felt like they were closing in. "What are you hiding?" Before Malik could answer, a loud crash echoed from the hallway. Glass shattered. They all turned, stunned. Then screams started. Panic surged, and the noise of chaos swallowed their thoughts. "Stay here!" Andrew shouted, rushing to the door. "Wait! Don't leave us!" James yelled, but it was too late. A figure, cloaked in black, face hidden, darted through the doorway, eyes glinting with a crazed intensity. The air screamed danger. James grabbed Malik's arm, pulling him close. "We need to get out now!" But as they turned to flee, Malik's expression shifted. Horror filled his eyes. "No, you don't understand. He's coming for me!" James froze, heart in his throat. The uncertainty, the fear. Was Malik the one in danger, or was it James who had put his trust in a shadow? The truth was unraveling, and in that moment, everything they had built was ready to crumble. As the figure advanced, James's mind raced. There was no way out. The truth was crashing in, and they were caught in a web too thick to escape. Who was Malik really? And more importantly, who was coming for him? James's heart raced as he stared at the cold screen of his phone. The message pulsed with a threat he couldn't ignore. "You don't know what you've started! Watch closer, or lose everything." What had he dragged Malik into? The air in the room turned thick, like a storm was brewing just outside the window. James shifted in his chair, suddenly hyper-aware of every sound. The ticking clock, the distant hum of traffic, the faint rustle of Malik as he adjusted his own body, lost in thought. The tension twisted like a knife between them. "Who sent that?" Malik asked, his voice shaky. Fear flickered in his eyes, but under it lay burning determination. A wary bond was forming, edging them closer together, but now it felt like the walls were closing in. "I don't know," James whispered, a chill creeping down his spine. "But it doesn't matter. We've got to figure this out." As they spoke, every word felt like a stone cast into dark waters. The ripples spread out, revealing nothing but uncertainty. Suddenly, Malik pulled a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket. He hesitated, then smoothed it out against the desk, his hands trembling as he did. James squinted at the hastily written words. It looked like a list, an address, names, dates. "What's this?" James asked, leaning in closer. It's a list of people. People involved with Mom. She left this for me," Malik stammered, eyes darting over the names. "I thought it was just random stuff, but now I think—" "Your mother?" James murmured, heart pounding. "She can't be just gone. If she had enemies—" Malik's gaze hardened like steel. "Enemies? No, she was fighting for something huge." "Ha ha ha ha. Big names are involved. I didn't understand it back then. But now, just then, a loud crash echoed from outside the office, pulling James's attention. They peered through the glass window as the noise shattered the stillness. A car had skidded off the road, slamming into a lamppost. Sirens wailed in the distance, piercing through the buzz of the city. Before he could process what was happening, a figure darted from the wreckage. James blinked, recognition flooding over him. That's someone I know." Malik's eyes widened. "Who?" "Ben Hawkins," James breathed, his stomach twisting. Ben was a lobbyist, an influential player. tied to the very circles James had been trying to break free from. The way Ben moved, it felt frantic, as if he had something to hide. "Oh, ho, 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 ho. James!" Malik's voice pierced his thoughts. "What does he have to do with your mother?" "I don't know." Panic knotted in James's gut. "But if he's involved, this means the stakes are much higher than we thought." They rushed to the door, joining a small throng forming outside, the energy electric with fear and curiosity. James pushed through, pulling Malik along. Distant voices buzzed, confusion crackling. Then, a scream tore through the night. A woman in the crowd, pointing. "He's got a gun!" Everything erupted into chaos. People scattered like leaves in a storm. Fear gripping the air. Malik grabbed James's hand, eyes wide, teeth clenched. "James, we need to get out of here," he shouted. But as they turned to escape, there was Ben, gun raised, breathing heavy, eyes darting. He looked past them, panic fighting through his expression. "Get back!" he shouted, voice trembling. Heart pounding, James felt the walls closing in again. This wasn't just about him or Malik. It was about something darker, something he couldn't yet understand. "Malik, But the scene was too chaotic, their connection to each other suffocating under the weight of unexpected terror. Their chance to rewrite their stories felt like sipping sand between their fingers. All James could think was, how did it come to this? Everything had changed. A truth was shifting, blurring like shadows in the night. What lay ahead? He couldn't say. But one thing was clear. They were knee-deep in a fight larger than they had ever imagined. James stared, heart pounding, as Ben Hawkins stood there, gun raised, eyes wild. The chaos around them blurred into a slow-motion nightmare. Malik's grip tightened around his arm, panic flashing across his face. "James, we have to move!" Malik shouted. Before James could respond, the unexpected happened. A figure surged through the crowd behind Ben, a woman with a determined gaze, rushing past throngs of terrified onlookers. The shouts grew louder. People shrank back. "Mom!" Malik's voice broke like glass. James turned, shocked, as Malik's mother, an enigmatic presence, appeared through the turmoil. She should have been gone, lost in a fog of mystery and danger, but there she was. Her hair, unkempt, gave her an air of both desperation and elegance. They locked eyes. "No, get down!" Ben yelled, trying to refocus on the chaos around him. But in that single second, everything changed. Malik's mother lifted her hands, palms open in a plea. "Ben, put the gun down!" she pleaded, voice strong despite the tremor. Everyone froze. All eyes were now on her. She should have had that power, shouldn't she? The one they feared, the one he was protecting. But here she was, defying it all. "Mom!" Malik breathed, hope mingling with disbelief, stepping forward. "It's not what you think," she shouted, panic rising in her voice, but Ben's grip tightened too. Suddenly, the air swirled thick with tension. The crowd murmured anxiously. "What's happening?" someone whimpered nearby. Then, like a thunderclap, everything erupted. Ben fired a shot. The loud crack split the night, but it wasn't directed at anyone. A bullet ricocheted off the wall just above Malik's head. A collective gasp erupted. "Run!" someone screamed. The crowd surged backward, people scattering like leaves in a storm. James grabbed Malik's arm, dragging him away from the chaos, adrenaline flooding through him. But there was a split second of hesitation in Malik's gaze as he watched his mother. "Mom, go!" she yelled, urgency sharpening her voice. "Find safety. I'll handle this. James, we can't leave her." Malik's plea tugged at James's heart. "Shut up and move," James barked, practically pulling Malik past the throngs. The shouts and screams echoed, mixed with the rising cries from Malik's mother. But a searing realization hit. What if she had known all along? The secrets she kept were sharper than knives. What if she was the reason for the danger, the turmoil swirling around them? "Malik," James said urgently as they scrambled into an alley. "Talk to me. I need to know what she's hiding." But Malik's eyes were lost, staring into a storm. I don't know. She's my mother. She wouldn't." "Could she be involved in this?" James pressed, trying to piece together a maze of secrets. Malik's breath hitched, pain slicing through his chest. "No, she can't be." But doubt loomed like a black cloud. Everything fell silent for a moment. The world around them shrank. They needed to move, to escape. But the seeds of betrayal and fear had been planted. As they rounded the corner, James glanced back at the unfolding scene. Malik's mother stood alone, facing Ben, the words flying like daggers between them. "Mom." Malik shouted once again, voice raw. "Stop! You don't understand." She struggled to reason. Across the distance, the truth twisted. Did she have the answers? Or was she hiding something far more dangerous? James pulled Malik onward, uncertainty clawing at him. How deep did this web go? Could they ever break free? Fear coiled in their hearts, and just ahead, darkness awaited, thick with unanswered questions. James stared, heart pounding, as he squinted toward the chaos unfolding. Visceral screams erupting into the night air. Malik's mother faced off with Ben, every nerve in James's body screaming for him to intervene. "Mom!" Malik cried, struggling against the grip of uncertainty that held him back. The crowd surged around them, bodies pushing, faces pale with fear. The tension was suffocating. As if sensing their anxious glances, Ben's attention flickered to Malik and James, and his expression twisted into something darker. "Get out of here!" he shouted, his gun wavering slightly. "Put the gun down, Ben!" she pleaded, desperation lacing her voice. "This isn't what you think!" Then, in the blink of an eye, everything spiraled. A flash, a deafening bang, then another. Gunfire! The world shifted. Hearts stopped. Malik crumpled to the ground, a crimson stain blooming on his shirt, shock etching his face. "No!" James lunged forward, instinct roaring through him. He dove into the fray, scooping Malik into his arms. The noise of the crowd faded as the horror settled in. "Malik!" he shouted, panic rising as he felt the warmth pooling between them. The world felt distant, hazy. Malik's eyes were wide, shock mixing with pain. "James, it hurts," Malik gasped. Voice a whisper. "Stay with me." "Hold on!" James screamed, his heart shattering at the sight of his friend's vulnerability. But inside, doubt crashed in. How could this happen? "His mother!" Malik gasped, fingers clutching at his shirt, but his voice was fading. She was saving us." James looked up at Malik's mother, still locked in confrontation with Ben. Anguish filled her face as she took a step towards them, eyes haunted. "I didn't mean for this to happen." The crowd surged again, people scattering. The world blurred into chaos, cries mingling with the deafening pulse in James's ears. He felt Malik slipping, the light dimming behind those terrified eyes. "No! You can't leave me! Not like this!" The words tore from James's throat. But as he tried to pull Malik closer, he could see panic in his friend's gaze. Then, everything shifted. Ben's figure tensed, and he looked toward Malik's mother with a mix of betrayal and despair. "You said it was safe!" "What?" James's breath caught. What was happening? Confusion tormented him as they struggled against the chaos. And just like that, a blinding truth burst forth. "James, I was never trying to hurt you!" Malik's mother screamed, voice cracking, desperation spilling into every word. "I was trying to protect you both, to keep you from the truth." James looked back at her, confusion morphing into horror. "Protect us? From what? What truth?" But before she could answer, a figure emerged from the shadows, one he recognized all too well. It was Liam, James's childhood friend, the one who warned them earlier. Liam stepped forward, eyes blazing with urgency. "Enough! They know everything! We've been exposed!" Reality twisted like a knife. "What are you talking about?" James shot back, panic rising in his chest. Liam's eyes darted around, fueled with urgency. "The documents Malik's mother took, they hold the key to everything, herself included. But you both have to understand, she's not an innocent bystander in all this." Malik's eyes widened. "What are you saying?" Then the ground shook beneath them, a deafening roar like thunder. A second explosion rocked the street, sent pieces of debris flying, the world erupting into flames. James barely had time to react. Chaos engulfed them, shadows and fire blending into a nightmare. Malik's scream shattered the air as he clutched his wound, eyes filled with terror. In that moment, red lights flashed in the distance. More sirens, more danger closing in, and with each passing second, the truth continued to unravel further like threads pulled from a frayed tapestry. A final realization dawned in James's mind, chilling him to the bone. The woman he once considered a savior may very well be the architect of their demise. Everything he believed teetered on the edge, and the darkness returning seemed to breathe as if mocking him. "James!" Malik rasped, desperately fighting to stay conscious. And as they tumbled into the night, uncertainty enveloped them like a thick fog, leaving them to grapple with a truth they never wanted to know, one that could shatter their fragile world forever. James felt the heat of the moment, the chaos swirling around them. Malik lay in his arms, blood seeping through James's shirt, staining it a deep crimson. The world was a blur of sirens, shouts, and panic. "Stay with me, Malik. Help is coming," he urged, his voice thick with fear. Malik's eyes fluttered, a flicker of life drowning in pain. "James, I can't," his voice cracked, each word a struggle. You have to promise." "Don't talk like that. Just hold on." James could see the light fading, a final spark extinguishing. "Promise me," Malik rasped, his gaze fixed on James, a mix of desperation and understanding. "Promise me you'll find the truth. about my mother, about everything. I swear I will. James felt a lump in his throat, fighting back tears. Just stay with me! Around them, chaos continued to unfold, bodies pushing against one another, trying to flee the storm of violence. Ben Hawkins still stood, his shadow looming, the gun shaking in his hand. James's heart raced as he pushed away the thought of what Ben might do next. "Mom!" Malik cried out again, but the words felt heavy and laced with sorrow. And just when James thought all hope was lost, Malik's mother broke through the crowd, her face streaked with determination. "Get away from him!" she yelled, her voice fierce, eyes blazing. Ben, startled, turned to her, confusion twisting his features. "Rachel, I didn't want this!" he shouted. But it was too late. A crowd was gathering, inching closer, their gaze filled with fear and intrigue. In that moment, something shifted. Malik's mother locked eyes with him, and for a brief second, they held on to the bond that had been lost. James saw it, felt it, an unbreakable thread that linked past to present. "Malik!" she cried, reaching for him. "I'll protect you!" "No." Malik's voice was barely a whisper. "What did you do?" Ben squeezed the trigger, but before he could pull it, chaos erupted. The crowd surged forward, a ripple of voices, shouting and crying. Bodies collided, and just like that, Malik's mother was shielded from the madness. "Run!" James yelled, dragging Malik through the tumult. But with every step, the knowledge crushed him. The lies, the secrets, it all felt too heavy. They burst into an alley, the sounds of panic muffled behind them but still echoing in James's mind. He sank to his knees, cradling Malik's head. "Stay with me, please," he pleaded, urgency ringing in his voice. "James," Malik's breath hitched. "I don't know if I can." "You can! You have to!" Panic bubbled to the surface. He pressed a hand against the wound, but blood seeped through his fingers. "Help is coming!" Malik's eyes searched for something within James. An understanding, a connection. "Make sure you find the truth," he whispered, fear and bravery battling in his gaze. "I will. I swear I will." The words slipped through James' lips, an oath formed through desperation, and then, just like that, Malik closed his eyes, and the world felt impossibly heavy. A white noise filled James's ears as he shook Malik gently. "Malik? No! Stay with me! Please! Don't leave me!" But it was too late. The warmth slipped away, leaving only a cold void. James's heart shattered, his world tilting. "Malik! No!" He fell into despair, the night closing in around him, suffocating and dark. Then, something within him ignited, a flicker of determination. He would not let this be the end. He would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. "Get up!" A voice pierced his haze. Liam, breathless and fervent, knelt beside him, eyes burning with urgency. "We need to move, now!" James looked up, rage boiling within him. "We can't leave him! We have to! This isn't safe!" Liam's grip on James's shoulder was firm, anchoring him back to resolve. "I will find out what happened to him." "To his mother," James shouted through the haze of anger and sorrow. "Then let's go! We'll figure this out together!" Liam urged, determination gleaming in his eyes. With one last glance, James committed Malik's face to memory. the warmth of their bond a promise. Together, they rushed into the unknown, fear chasing but resolve burning brightly. Then, closing the gap, he felt it, and he could not ignore it. The truth stalked him now, and with every step away from the chaos, the shadows whispered secrets waiting to be uncovered. If you want to see where this journey leads, then you have to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. This is the moment to show your support. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait even a second longer to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this shocking conclusion. Let's